creating a table and you make it one, two, three, instead of first name, you can decide to make it, let's say, now let me show you what I mean. You can decide to make it Clinton. I hope you are seeing my screen because I'll only explain this once. If you're trying to create a 1 3 table that has 3 columns and as many rows as you want, because right now, from the look of things, we have 3 columns because what we are adding is just 1, 2, 3. Now see what I mean by the columns. Those ones that go this way, these ones that go this way, these ones that go this way are called columns. While everything that goes this way is called a row. Everything that goes this way is called a row. Now for now we have 2 rows already created, 3 columns. And then what do we have? We have cells. These are the boxes. These boxes you are seeing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have 6 cells in total. So now if you want to make your first name to be one, for instance, one, you make your surname, you want to now create a 1, 2, 3 table right now. You make it two. Instead of this, you make it three. So that means, how do you make it in such a way that people still see it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? That means you are making it organized, right? You are trying to make your table to make sense so that when you finish reading from one row to the end, you continue from the other number. So we already have 1, 2, 3. How do we continue the fourth one? You don't just go here and write 4 and then go here and write 5. If you go here and write 5, go here and write 6, what you will get will not make sense. Let me save my word. What you will get will not make sense. Do you know why? Let's see. Now look at how it is. When someone is now reading your table, what are they saying? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. It doesn't make sense. So the first thing you add is the first thing that appears in each row. So now you added 5 as your first. That's the first thing that appears in that second line. And you know that at the end of the first row, which is this, we stopped at 3. So now it is right for you to now continue the next one from what? 4. And then the other one to be 5 while we have 6. Now when you view this, what happens? It is now organized. You see, it is now organized. So that is why Jenny, when I created Jenny, I first of all created the surname, the first name, surname, and age. Now it is appropriate that if you want to answer the question for the first name, you have to write the first name. Let's say your first name is Clinton. You now write the beginning of that row should be your first name. That your second row should be your first name. And the second cell in that your second row should answer the question of the surname. It can be whatever your surname is. And the third one, which is the third cell of that row, should answer the other question where you said age, because your row arranges
This meeting is being recorded.
now I want to view my table. So what do? You right click on it. You see something like this. Right click on it. You see something you open with live server. I you installed live server yesterday. You click on open with live, open it, click on it again, then you go and view it. Did I answer your question? So I'm sure all of you are following. Chantel, at this point, I'm sure you are following because I've explained your question to you. So now we'll continue.
Ma,
Yes.
I actually, can you please give me the shortcut for how to write a comment on the VS? I forgot it.
Hmm?
How to write a comment on
Okay, you want
the
to comment out something.
yes.
So this is how you add a comment. You highlight what you want to comment and then you click control and slash.
Thank you.
Have you done it? Did it work?
Yes. Yes.
Good. So now we can see that we have already created something like this where we have the cell 1, the cell 2, cell 3. Now, in place of cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, we wrote what? First name, surname, and second name. So now for them to continue writing their cell 4, cell 5, cell 6, Clinton, according to your question, you see, you asked me why I have Jenny there. Now you see that they created, you see this image here, the table row was created and it has data that counts from cell 1 to cell 3. When they created the second row, they had another one that counted from cell 4 to cell 6. So this is how the table works. Now I've already told you what the table structure looks like, where you have the table and the table must contain a table row. This is a must. It must contain a table row, and then the table row must have the tags inside. Now, assuming you do not want to have the normal TD, there's something else called the table header. Now, you want a part of your table to have to look different from the rest. That means to look like the header. That means to look. It's the ch tag is the table header, and it's for your column or row titles. Now you use it. Usually, it is usually bold and it is centered automatically. Whenever you use that tag to write your text, it makes it bold. You use it in place of TD. Now let me show you what I mean. Instead of just talking too much, let me show you. Let's go to the VS code so you see what I mean. Now I want to comment this out. I showed you how you add a comment. I will highlight it and I'll click on control and the slash. Do you know why I'm doing this? Because I want it to disappear from my browser right now, but I still want to have the code because I'm still making use of it. But before then, I want to go back to what I had, which is the name Jenny. And now do you know what I am pressing? I am pressing Control Z to undo till I get to where I used to be. So now we are here. And like I said, let's see what it looks like right now. Save it, then go and shake it out here. Now we are back to this, the first name, and we're back to this table. So now I want to change this first name, surname, and age to header. Now I don't want to have this as a normal table data anymore. I want it to be a header because I want it to look different from the rest of my table. Now what I will do is I want to comment this out. I can decide to delete it, but I don't want to delete it because I still want to be seeing it. I'll click on my control and slash, come down, start again with my TR. Now, when I do the TR, instead of writing TD, you write TH. Are you all following? Do you understand?
Yes.
So instead of writing TD now, since I want it to be a head, I will write TH and then I'll start writing my first name again. You see why I decided to leave the other one there commented so I can be reading out what I want to still replace the other one with. So I will also write another TH because we have three things, three contents here. I also want to have three cells as well. So the second one is surname. The second one is surname, while the third one is I'm still going to put the TH while the last one is A. Let me save my work. Control S. and then I'll go and check out what it looks like. Now, can you see what's happening? What did you notice? What did you notice in
I
this
noticed
one? That is,
older.
it is bolder. It is. And assuming our table is bigger than this, we can still increase the width, but we'll get to that. Assuming it's bigger than this, you will see that it will remain in the center no matter how big the width of the table is. Because that's how the TH tag comes. It comes by default, it makes it bold and it keeps your text in the center. So now we will continue. If you have a question for me, kindly drop it now before I continue. What question do you have for me? Are you all following?
Yes.
Are you all following? Now, someone has already answered your question. Who is following? If you are following, kindly indicate in the chat or you
Following.
wave. Good, good. You are sure. If you know you are good, if you know you are following, just keep indicating. I want to be sure. Are you following or you have a question for me? Like I can't see you anymore. Okay, okay. Good. I'm good. I'm glad that all of you are following. Good. So now the next thing we have to check out is, now I have showed you something like this already, where I created the TR. Just now, this is what we just did now, where we did the TR and we did the TH for header, TH and for header, TH for header, and then you continued. Now the name of this person is Emma. The age of this person is 10. Their favorite color is purple. So you structure your table because you know that the first row goes this way, second one will follow this way. So everything is going this way. You have to place it in such a way that it aligns properly. Now I'll keep going. Now there's a way to make your table, assuming you have a big table and you want to break it into sections. You can decide not to. It is not compulsory, but assuming you want to create a table and then divide it into sections, you can decide to give it a table head. This is a tag, another tag. So now you have created a lot of tags. There's another tag called the T head. But I don't know if I want to confuse you with this. I don't know if I want to confuse you with this, but then when you want to create the head, you just say, okay, just like when you are starting the page and you organized it by saying HTML head, have body. So now you can decide to make head have a section of its own called the T head. And you can decide to make the main content of your table have a section of its own called the T body. You can also decide to last the bottom part, which is the last thing on your table, as the T foot. Now this is what, and what does it do for you? It helps you organize larger tables. This is why you use table sections. It helps you organize larger tables and it makes your code easier to read. Now for you, it is just for your own good. If you want to just be able to say, okay, this is where the head stops, that T head there helps you different, just section it. Then it allows your browser to scroll the body while keeping headers visible. It also helps screen readers for accessibility. Now this is what it looks like. Just like the table I created, this image is not so bright, but then you can see what I'm trying to show you. Here it started with table just after the body, still inside the body tag. Started with table, and in this particular image here, they've already given it a border of 1, as you can see. And then it started with the tag called what? T head. I'm pointing it out because you might not be saying it clearly. I will still do this in the Visual Studio Code. So now you have the T head. Now after your T head, what should follow again? The table row. I told you the table row is extremely compulsory. So now whether you add this T head or not, you will still do the TR and do your TH because you now want to create head, right? So this thing here only helps you know that okay, when you look at this code, oh, this is the head, oh, this is the head, but it doesn't do anything extra. It just helps you section it, sectioning. Now this other one is called the T body, where you now do a lot of table row, table row, table row, and adding your table data inside. Let's do something like that just so we can understand what I am saying. So I will create another table because why not? We are allowed to create as many tables as we want in a page. It cannot just be, if you want to create another table in this page, if you want to create 10, if you want this page to be filled with a lot of tables, you can do that. So now I want to create a fresh table for that. And I want it to already have a border so I don't stress myself anymore. I'll make it a border of 1. What are we starting with? I want to add, make it a head. So how do I do that? I'll start with the T head. T head still will have a TR. The TR will now have what? Since we are still talking about table head, we to have a T head, TH, T head as well, table head. And what will our table head be? Name. Another table head will be um age. Okay, I forgot that. Age. Okay, good. We are done with the head. I just want to have two columns. I just want to have two columns. Or should I say I want to have 2 cells in each row. I don't want to create 3 like I did before. So I'm trying to show you that it mustn't be 3. You can have 2, you can have 5, you can have 10. So now I've created the first row and I want it to have just 2, your name and age. Now the next thing to do is now to do the T body. What we are learning now is just sectioning T body. Now the T body still will still have a TR, and now your TR will now come with your TD, which is your data. Now that name is what? Jenny. Jenny. Good. Good. So now Jenny, another table data. Jenny is 12. Now the seafood is just the last thing we'll see on our table. So what should I put for Jenny's name? Let's just add the last person. Another person's name is let's say Paula. Okay, you see, I am wrong. You have to start with your TR, and then inside your TR you have the TD, and it will have the name Paula. And the last one, another TR, let's say 11. I do not know. So let's continue. You save this. Let's see how it looks. You see, it still looks the same but sectioned, just sectioned, but it does the same thing. Now you see that our TH is still making our text bold, and our TD is still doing its job, and our footer is still leaving the last text as it is. So you mustn't do that. But if your table is too much and you want people to easily like access it, this is the right thing to do. But if you're just creating a normal short table like this one, you can always use it just like we created the first one without adding the sections. No, this is now for you to know. I hope you all understand me.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful. So now we'll continue. And there's something called a table caption. Even without being told, you already know what a caption is. It adds a title. The caption adds a title to your table and it goes directly after the opening table tag. Since you want it to be your table title, still inside that table. I didn't say inside the opening tag, I just said outside. Since you're trying to create another tag now, you call it the caption tag and add your title. Now let me show you what I mean. We have a table already. Oh, let's say that, oh, I have a table and I forgot to add a title. What should I do? You don't have to worry. You just need to go to the table, enter. Before you write your table row, you just say caption. Now this is another tag on its own. Now when you hover on, that's one thing about VS Code. When you hover on any of the tags, it tells you what it does. Now when I hovered on this, can you see what it says? The caption element represents the title of the table. You see? That is your title. Now what will I say? I'll just call it my list. Caption is my list. Now let's see where it will appear. I'll save my work. Then I'll go back to this. Now can you see that it's appearing there on the top of my table? Can you all see that? Can you all
Yes.
see that? That's good. And it aligns, you see that, okay, just arranges itself. That's what the tag does. Arranges itself to the center, and it is your title. Whatever name you want to give this. You can say my students list, my whatever, whatever, or anything you want. Any name can be your caption. It mustn't be my own name. So are you all still following?
Yes.
Good. It can be anything you want. You mustn't use surname. Yes, you all are following. That's good. Now we'll continue. Look at an example of what I just did. Your caption can be anything. Now look at what they use, my weekly schedule, and this is their weekly schedule on day Monday, activity swimming. You see? So this is what it does. Now we have already talked about the table borders where we did the table border equal to 1. So now let me tell you, tables don't have visible borders by default. You don't just write a table and you automatically see a border. You add a border yourself. In modern web development, you can add a border and it will make more sense, which is using CSS. But then I've not taught you CSS now, but I'll be showing you that tomorrow. I will be showing you how to make your table prettier using CSS tomorrow. But you don't need to worry about it right now. That's why our table is still looking like lines, 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 all blocks and blocks. You can always restyle it using the CSS style. So now let's continue. There's something called cell spacing and cell padding. Now cell spacing adds space between cells. I told you what a cell is. Cell is just the block of text, block of text, block of text, block of text. While cell padding add space inside the cells, just around the content. Now, this is what the cell padding does. The cell padding happens inside the block itself, just inside here. It will not be giving the space around here, around here, around here, around here. While the spacing happens outside. Can you see how this is now giving you an extra space? Let me show you how you add your cell spacing. You add your cell spacing still inside that your um table tag. So even if you already have a border equal to 1 right beside your table, you can still always add another thing right beside it. It has room to accommodate a lot. So now let's start with adding a cell spacing, and we'll make it 10 to know what will happen. First of all, let's see what our table looks like first, because we'll be applying this to this our second table. So now for me to differentiate between the two tables, what do? I want to add a comment that will make me know that, okay, this is my first table. How do you do that? I'll still do my control and slash, and it will just add this for me while I add my test. My first table. Now my browser doesn't see this, but I'm just using it to label my work, just to make it easy for me to find. I'll still add another comment. just for me to easily know that this is my first table and this is my second. A second what? Table. So I can easily know that, okay, let me not mistakenly go and work on the first one when I want to work on the second. So now what I want to add that cell spacing to is the second table. So still inside your table tag in the opening, I didn't say outside though, I said inside. You give it a little space. Now you write cell spacing equal to quotes. You quote it, and now inside this quote is where you now add the number you want. I want you to have the number 10. Let's see what happens when your cell has the space of 10. I will save my work because you remember that we are working on control S. Go back and see what happened. Can you see? There's so much. Okay, now I want my table to go down so I can know that I'm working on the second one. Really, it's now merging with this. How do I do that? I want to add the space after this table. Now, like I taught you yesterday, tell me in the comment section. How do you think I can break that line? How do you think I can make it have an extra space there? If you know you followed in my last class, you should be able to answer this my question. How do you think I can do that?
The BR tag.
Wonderful. Great. What don't you understand? So how do you think I can add a space to my table? All of you be yes. Kamal, good. Good. So now, who is great? Great, can you tell me what you do not understand? Emmanuel, yes, BR tag. Great, what don't you understand? Ask me your question. I am moving away from this chat. BR tag. Zion, it's not VR, it's B good. The last thing I said is a space in your cell. When you go to your table, the head of your table, type cell spacing. Just look at how your table is first. Go to the table you've already to create to, because I won't say it again. Go to the table you've already created and see how it looks like. Now, if you see the normal shape it has, you now go to that table head here. Then add it cell spacing into equal to 10. Save your work and go back to your browser and see what it looks like. This is what will happen. It will add a space around the tables, around the content, which is the cell. You to add a space around here. This is what spacing does. I've explained what you asked. So I'm going back to the VS code because I want to add cell padding. We now look at what it looks like. So now right beside our cell, make sure you spell it correctly. Equal to, let me give it 20. It's really big, but then I want to know what it will show. Save it and then you go back to your, now see what happened. Okay, before then, let me do the break so that my table and the other table will be different. So for you to add that, you need to go to the end of the first table, the end of it where it ended. Since I want to start the spacing from there, I'm going to add a B arrow. I want to add it 2 times because I want it to give me enough space. It's blocking my view. Now I'll go and view this. Now it has given me the space that I need. Now can you see that the padding has happened inside the box? Now look at how it was looking before. Look at how it was looking. But then when I added the padding, what happened? It gave a space. It just says, leave me alone. I need space. This is what padding does. It gives the contents, that is whatever thing you typed here, it gives a space just inside that main container. While the cell spacing happens just outside the cell, this cell itself, while the padding happens inside. Do you all understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. Zion, do you understand? Give me a thumbs up. Chantel, what do you mean? You don't think it is what? I can't see some of your comments. Number 27. You don't see the code to put it down. Don't worry, I will still copy this. Okay, now Chantel, I added a comment. I cannot wait for you to type everything down, but I will do this now. I will copy the code and I'll paste it in the group. I will do this, copy the code, and I will paste it for you to see. Control V. Now this is where we are right now. Chantel, have you received the code? So anything that looks green there is my comments. So should I move on? Tochi, it's confusing. Chantel, have you seen the code? Tochi, what don't you understand? Tell me what you do not understand. I'm sure you all can see my screen. I've pasted the code there. Just try it out little by little on your own. Should I continue with the class, please? Someone should make me move on from here, okay? Tochi, were you in my last class? Tochi, were you in my last class? You've not answered my question. Tochi, were you in my last class? Okay. You're not in the group. So confused. Who else is confused? If you were in my last class, indicate so that I'll be sure that I'm dealing with those that were in my last class and those that watched the previous. You Tochi, you were not in my last class. That's why you don't know how. Do you have a lane school app, Tochi? Tochi, do you have the lane school app? Kamal, you were in the last class, so are you following? Tochi, if you have the lane school app, make sure you go to the previous videos. Go to learn, go to web development, and click on take course. Click on take course. Make sure you learn that. You get me? Kamsi, this particular video will still be out on YouTube today. You can always rewatch it. And we have the video of the previous classes that you can easily watch using your Link School app. I don't understand your question, Angela. Where is number 27? Let me see the number you are talking about. Number 27, I just added. I'm not, this is not, you don't need this. I can delete it if I want to. What I did there was I just added, then you come, like I'm writing this text. I want my browser to read it. I still want to see it in my VS Code because this is where I'm working and I want my work to be arranged. That's why I need the comments. So now what you do is if you write that text, you highlight it and then you click control and then the slash. It comments it for you. Or you can just decide to do the control slash. Okay, now it's removed it. Now you can decide to do the control slash, and then it will bring out this, and then any text you add inside will still be green. So whether you highlight it first or you click on the control and slash before adding a text, it still does the same thing. The point is that I don't want the browser to see this particular thing I wrote here, but I still want to be seeing it in my VS Code. That is what the comment does. It's just like your magic powder. A magic powder that makes a text disappear but not completely disappear. I'll still be seeing it, but the browser will not see it. Okay? I hope it makes sense now. Great. I am using HTML Tochi. So now can I continue? Good. So I will continue with the class. I've taught us cell spacing and cell padding. Now there's something called width and height. I want to I want to control my table size with width. Now what do you mean by width? I want it to expand this way, the like row wise. I want it to stretch. So now how do you do it? You still go to your table and you write width equals to, just the same way we write border equal to, or cell spacing equal to, or cell padding equal to. Now you can use percentage, or you can use px, that is pixels. But then let me use percentage because I'm sure it's easier for you to understand that way, because I'll still teach you pixels. Now back to my table. I'm still using the same one that I've already added border, cell spacing and padding. So right beside it, I didn't say outside, still inside it. Just give it a little space, and then you type the width equal to. Make sure you spell it out correctly. Width equal to. I want to my table to take up, let's say 60% of my screen. Width widthwise. Let me save my work and show you what happened now. Can you see what happened? Did you notice the change? It used to be this small, like smaller than this one. But now that I increased the width, it has taken 60% of my screen size. So from here to here is like 60% of my screen. You still have this one left, which is like 40% of it. Maybe let me now do it 100% of my screen size. Let me change the 60 to 100 as my width. Save my work. Go back and let me see. Now it takes up the entire width. Can you see? It takes up the entire width. Now notice what happened now that the width has increased. The header still remains in the center. Header still remains in the center and bold. So do you all understand what I did here?
Yes,
Makes
ma'am.
sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So if you got it to this point, indicate
I did.
good. Good. Just click on Control plus S, Control and S. I taught you shortcuts yesterday, or you go to the file and save. So okay, I'm glad that most of you are following. I will keep going. Emmanuel, thank you. So now I'll continue with the class. Now you can also decide to specifically add a width to your cell. What do I mean by cell? What do I mean by cell? Because I've been saying it here like 1,000 times. What do I mean by cell?
Cell is the
Hmm?
block of the block that makes up the row.
Good. So someone else should answer. I don't think Paula is the only one in my class. So what is cell? Good. Now the box where you add your contents inside. add your content inside. So now you can decide to specifically change the width of your box, any of the cells directly. How do you do that? Now, instead of just saying the width of the entire table will be something, you can decide to just say, let's go to table head now and decide to give it a width. But then I don't want to do this because we've already made a lot of changes to this particular one. So I want to go back to the first table I created. Now indicated it here that this is the first table. So I now want the head, my first table, which is where uh did the first name. I want it to have a width. I want it to have a width of 60%. Let me now can you see what is happening? It's stretching, and it is also stretching together with this one, with the one below it. That's one thing that happens. It doesn't leave the one underneath. It doesn't leave it behind. It doesn't just work on its own. It stretches together with what is beneath it. But the point is that it moves. It stretches. It wasn't looking this way initially, but when you added that width, it increased. Can you all still hear me? So now
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know that you can decide to add it specifically to the cells, or you can decide to add it to the entire table. So I'm going back. I don't want us to waste so much time. There's something called, now this is important. There's something called um spanning, column spanning. Now there's an attribute called co-span that you add inside a cell to stretch across multiple columns. Co-span is strictly for columns, called row span. Co-span are the two terms I want you to remember right now. Co-span makes, okay, let's say that you want, now let me show you an image of what I mean. Now look at this first one. It is supposed to be a line here, one cell, another cell. But now it is stretching to the other cell. Now you have two cells, but then one text merging together to form one. Now you see this one. It is two rows merging together to form one. Now this is supposed to be, now look at this image. It's supposed to be row one, row two. This one is supposed to have a line here. That means row three. And this one, row four. While the last one that I can you cannot see clearly, but then it is supposed to be row five. But this one decides to take up more space. That is more row space by doing something called a row span connected to the second one because he wants to be alone. He wants to take up the whole space as the big boy. And this one decided to take up columns. That is what you call the row span. Do you get? Do I make sense? So now I will show you how to do that in your own table. This is how you add a span. This is how you this is how you add a span in your table. Let's say it's the first TD or the second TD. You can inside just the same way you add border equal to this. You can decide to make it span equal to, but it is strictly for the cells. So you're not going to the table, you have space. So you can go and you say that this now let's do it ourselves. Now let's go to this one. Which table do we have that has um okay, now this one here has two cells, this and this. Now I want this my T head to stretch and become two instead of one. What do I do? I want it to now take up two columns. Let's see what will happen. Now you come here and you write span equal to 2. Are you all still following at this point? I told you you apply it
Yeah.
to cells. Okay, good. You apply it to cells and not to the main head. So you apply to each of the cells. That means each of the data. You can also decide to apply it here because this TD here and TH are just for adding data at your cells. So now I've added it here. This is our second table. Let's see what it looks like. I'll save my work. Go back to this. Now can you see what is happening? This is the place I applied it. This one name. It took up two more columns. Now, because it took up two more columns, now I have one, two. This one has moved again to form the third one. You see what happened? It has moved away because it will not disappear now. It's still inside the table. Now, automatically, I have one, two, three columns because I increased this particular column to two. It used to be one, but then I stretched it by adding an extra table using that attribute called colspan. I stretched it and made it two. Now it's pushing on outside, but I don't want it to look this way because I don't want to have extra. So I can also decide to get rid of this age here if I want to, or I can decide to add up more content here because what we have here is two. I can now decide to add one more data. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. So since we have two, because all the cells should align. If you right now I have two here, but then automatically it is three because I increased this by giving it two more columns. You get? I increased this particular th by making it two more columns. Now we have three automatically. This two plus one, making it three. If I also decide to make this one two, if I decide to make it two now, let's say I decide to make this cospan two, that means what we have now is four because this one now automatically means two columns, while this one automatically means two columns. Let's see what I mean. So what happens to you when you make such a change? It still affects this one. Now I will need to meet up. Assuming the screen is bigger, it will keep showing you that it has been pushed further than it should be. Now I'll readjust this because it's not looking nice. I don't want you to have an extra. Okay. I don't want you to have an extra. No, I'll get rid of this. Now let's say I decide to remove this now. I decide to remove this age. If I decide to remove it, do you know that everything will still be aligned because we still have two columns here, even though you are still seeing only one TH? It's taking up two columns. Now these two are still two, this one's still two. And now let me show you. Control S. Go back. Let me show you what I mean. Now look at what happened. Because I took away the other one, it has balanced fully to take up the two columns that because I gave it that call span of two. Do you understand? Do you
Yes.
understand? Now, because I got rid of that third one that is pushing the whole thing out of the screen, it balanced completely. But if it's still there, this one will still adjust for it to come and fix itself. Because if it's still there, it will not really kick it out, or else you decide to kick it out yourself. And then I did. I took it out the age. So now it's still looking like this. So of three, depending on how many content you have on your page, it will take up the three. Assuming I have this, and then I have one more table, table data here, and make this one three to still stretch to that point. That is what row span does. Now let's say I want it to have a row span as well. I want this table to look for trouble. So now I want it to have a row span of, let's see if it will work, of two. Let me know if I can still stretch to that point. No, it will not stretch because it's already taking up this whole part. So it cannot move two together. So now let me add it to my journey. That's the way place it will reflect. Now to my journey, I want my journey to now take up does it have anything behind? To know if it will be able, yes, it has. I want my journey to now take up two. I'll give it a row span. Let's see what will happen. Sure, yes. It's not moving my polar out of the way. Okay.
That I think that we
Now let
can't
me get rid of
columns.
yes.
I think that's because
Yes,
there's
because
only two.
yes, exactly. So there's no way to push this one out. Let me just get rid of polar first. Let's know if it will be able to occupy more space. It's not taking it up. It's not taking it up. But that is what the coal span does. Coal span takes up here, while the roll span takes up this place. Should be a reason why this is not
Because the
functioning.
width we added the width too. The width must stop
Yes,
must not
that's good. It's stopping it, it's obstructing it. That's true. Very correct observation. It's stopping it from doing what it wants to do. So I've showed you what these things do. Row span makes it stretch across multiple rows, while the col span makes it stretch across multiple columns. So now this is how you add it inside that particular cell you want. It's useful when it has multiple rows. We don't have enough rows. That's why it is not reflecting as it should. It's not reflecting as it should because the rows are already two as it is. Just two. So it's not reflecting. So you can give your table a background color. Do you know that? Now look at this here. I want the table head to have this yellow color. So what do? You go there and you give it an attribute called BG color and you give it any color you want. And where do you add this of the cells? You can decide to add it to the whole TR, the whole table row, or you can decide to add it to individual cells. Now let me show you what I mean. Now let me go to this whole TR now. Let me go to this our first table. We've already touched the second one way too much. Okay, now let's continue. I'll go to this my TR. I hope you all are not getting confused. I'll go to this my TR, which is the first table row. My first table. I'm talking about the table row of my first table. And I can give it a BG color of, let me say, yellow. Can you see what happened? The entire row changed to this color. The entire row changed to this color. Now let me also give the second row the same another color. Let me give it red. Let's see what it looks like. Now I'll go to this other row and give it a BG color of, let's say, red. Now can you see? Can you see?
Yes,
Does
ma'am.
it make sense? Does it make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful. So now are all of you following? Are all of you following? So Paula, were you able to figure out how to add the anchor tag, the href? Were you able to link it to your page?
I found the reason why it wasn't linking.
You didn't add the HTTPS, right?
Yes.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So are you all following?
Yes, ma'am.
You all are still following. I'm talking about the A anchor tag. I'm talking about the class of yesterday, Emmanuel. I'm not talking about now, please. I'm sorry, not now. I'm talking about the class of yesterday where we added the href that wasn't linking to another page. Yes, you have to copy the whole address for it to completely link. You can't just go and write www. Yes, I was talking about yesterday's class. So are you all following? Should I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So you can also align your text in using a table. In the table, using the align attributes. Mind you, I call these ones attributes and not tags because the only thing you call a tag is what has the anchor thing. Now I'll align one of the texts to the center. Let's look for a table data to use. Let's look for one to use. Now from our first table, let me look for one that is not let me look for one that is not in the center so we can easily know. Let's apply it to Jenny. Let's see if Jenny will move to the center. Where is our Jenny? Jenny is here. So we'll say align center. I hope I'm right. Why is it not giving me options? So let's see. Wait. Let me be sure that I put the correct keyword. Yes, I did. Align our Jenny to the center. First of all, let me get rid of this so it doesn't affect anything. Check out our Jenny and see why it is not aligned to the center. Why it's not aligned to the center.
Maybe it's because of the
Wait,
way.
something is wrong. Let me go and open this table up again. There's something obstructing it. We have our caption. Where am I? Oh, it's the first Jenny and not the second Jenny. I actually forgot I have two Jennies. So now look at it. Can you see this table here?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
see it? Now see how Jenny is now in the center. I was thinking that it's this Jenny. Now this is our Jenny here. It's now in the center. Maybe let's align our Peter as well to be in the center. You can already see that it's going to the edge of the border, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I want it to be in the center. You go to where Peter is. Look at Peter here. Peter is the tag of the CD tag. You write align and you say center. Now you stay on your work. You go back and you check it out. Now Peter is in the center. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you done the same thing yourself? Now let me know if our Jenny, second Jenny will go to the center as well. Yes, it did. Our Jenny is in the center now. Every text I put in, every cell that I decided to align to the center has gone to the center. Are you all following?
Yes, ma'am. The line equals
Can we
zero.
continue? Because I don't think we have any question. How do you do what? Why is this stressing me out? How do you expand the table? Use the table tag, the main table tag, just inside the opening tag. I didn't say outside, just inside. You write with equal to, and then you say like give it. Let's look at my own code. This is still my table tag. I've added a lot of attributes, but it's still inside the first tag. It hasn't been closed yet. This is inside the tag, not outside. You write width and give it whatever width you want. You can give it 10%, you can give it 20, you can give it 100, you can give it anything. You have a question for me, Paula?
No, I just tried it out and it's in the middle.
Okay. So now we'll continue. Chantel, what don't you understand? Chantel, what don't you understand? What don't you understand, Chantel? How you add color. I told you there's an attribute called BG color. Let me copy the code and give you again. There's an attribute called BG color. Let me show you where I added it. I added it in my first table. Let me copy this code and give you Chantel. So now we don't have any issues. We'll keep going. Now this is what a modern table style looks like. In modern web development, you uh, it restricts you to something that looks like a skeleton. But then your CSS comes in and makes it styling, cascading style shape thing you are creating beautiful. So now these are the common table mistakes we made. Most times we forget the closing tags. You should not forget to close your tag. And when you have an uneven number of cells in rows, just like that time I increased the the width of when I did a code span and it moved the other content to the right, I had to readjust it to make my table align properly. Now, incorrect nesting of tags is when you don't put the appropriate thing where it should be. Like when you don't start the way I told you to start by starting with a table, then you do your TR, and inside your TR you have your TD or your TH. Just if you do not nest it properly, you will have a very wrong a table that is not okay, that is not looking like a table. Now you should not use table for page layout. That's not what a table does. Table is just table. That's just it. A table is just a table. You don't do layout with it. Now, there's no point saying this anymore because we have built a table already and you need to go and build yours. How do you do that? You create a file, or else you want to use the one you are still using now, you can do that. Now, mind you, for you to create a table, you mustn't always have a new file to do that. You mustn't have a new file. You can still do it inside where you are, just like the first one we worked on yesterday, where we are treating the tags. You can decide to now add another table tag and begin adding these things inside, and your table will still come out. The only point is for you to write the table tag and then TR, write the table tags correctly. So I want you to create a table about your favorite things, and you will include headers. You will include multiple rows. What do I mean by multiple rows? You will include a lot of TR, and the styling we'll be doing is just simply the normal background styling where you do the BG color and you give it any good color you want. I want you to make all the cells have different colors. I just want you to make that table attractive. You can make all the cells have different colors. I hope you got what I said. So all the table challenge ideas include you can create a class schedule table. You can pick one from this and make what you want, or just randomly pick up what you want. There are so many things you can do with a table. You can make a scoreboard for your favorite game. You can also design a menu for an imaginary restaurant. You can build a table of planets in our solar system. So there's nothing you cannot do with a table as long as it involves you listing things out. Now, ways to debug your table. What do I mean by debugging? Fixing mistakes, how to know what is wrong with your table. If your table looks squished, check if there is a tag that is missing there. If the borders are not showing, make sure you check for the border attributes. What is the border attributes? Tell me what I mean by the border attributes.
But the actual give border lines.
Yes, good. And what is that? What is the number I used for my border attributes?
One.
You can make try and make it two. Let me see what it looks like in your own table. Make it your border two.
Okay, ma'am.
So have you done that? What does it look like? Have you made the border two? What does it look like?
Oh yes, it's not that deep, but it's still good.
It's it has more weight now. It's not that fine, it's not that tiny,
Wait, is it
right?
going to be okay if we put 0.5 as the border width?
Can you try? You can just play around with your HTML. That's why you have it there with you. Anything you want to try out, you can easily do that. If you want to check if it makes sense to make it 0.5, you can check. If it doesn't work, you know that it doesn't work. You try if when you make it a 50, what does it look like? Your system will not beat you, you know. So you can always try out whatever thing you want to try for fun.
It doesn't even
Okay? Uh
okay. It doesn't even show
that
as
means it is not possible. That means it is not possible. So it's not possible to do a zero 0.5. So now we can continue. Now let me show you what examples of it wild examples of tables on real websites. You know, you can do sports statistics using tables. You can do the train or bus schedules using table. You can provide nutritional information using table on your website. Maybe you're already building a page on your website about yourself. You've already added pictures of your family members. Now you want to create a table about their name and age and complexion. You can easily just create a table tag and do that and do the how you just style it how you want it to look. Now let me show you what it looks like. Now this is a sports statistics. This is what it looks like. It has the sports, the mail. So now tell me, what tag do you think they used for this part? Tell me in the chat. What tag do you think they used for this top part that my cursor is showing? Type
T
it.
head.
Don't say type it. Shh. Shh. Polish. Just type it in the chat so you don't tell others. Type it in the chat. Good. You all should drop what you think was used for that part I showed. Now, for that part, it started with T head. I told you that T head is a section, right? So, what was put inside that T head? What tag was put inside the T head? What tag was put inside the T head? No one has given me no. What tag was put inside the T head? Somebody knows it. What tag was put inside the T head for you to see that text bold? T head is just the section name. So what tag was put good? What tag is now making the text bold after this wonderful TH is now inside the TR that now makes the text come out bold. T head, T head, TR, TH. That's how it comes out. That is why I have that. Tell me how this was formed. Just give me how it was formed. Tell me all the tags that were put in this variable, this 14 and this 14 came out. Write it in the chat. How do you think it was formed? What tags were put? list the tags that we have put for this line here to show. I'm waiting for you. Good. Hola, that's wonderful. T here, T R T H female. Good. Good. This is really, really, really wonderful. Now the second line, I told you what code was put in just in proper arrangements, not just wait, I saw a message here. Okay. Paula, which one?
What?
It cannot. It is not C head anymore because we don't want that one to be bold, right? We're not talking about the head anymore. That's the second line. It is T data. It is not T head anymore because T head is for the top part, which aligns it to the center and makes it black. Do you
No, I
understand?
mean that was first
Huh?
answer. That was my first response.
Oh, okay. No, it's you wrote a T body, you wrote a TR, then you wrote a TH. Now go and check out this image. This one is where they used a TH. Can you see why I told you they used a TH? Because it's bold. It's bold and aligned to the center. Now none of this is aligned to the center. That means they did not use a TH anymore. They used a TD. So give me the structure. Like what first tag was added? What's the second tag that was added? That's what I want. That's what I want. I'm still waiting for the answer.
That is my answer.
Hmm?
That is my answer.
You used. I told you. You're getting this confused. You're getting this. You are not understanding it, right? Okay, now you are still writing a th. I told you what a th does is it makes it
So
bold. Huh?
it makes it.
You on, it makes it bold and it aligns it to the center. There are two tags you use inside a tr. It can either be a th or a td. So now for the first line that you people already answered, you used a th, you know, because th automatically aligns that text to the center and it makes it bold. But your td just adds it there and leaves it at the edge. You just come on top and align it however you want. So now what you gave me is, now this is the correct form. TRTD. Good. This is good. Zaya, are you getting it?
Yes, no.
Good. So good. Now let's see other examples. Now this is another thing. This is a train bus schedule where they now made this a header and give it a BG color of blue, BG color, BG color, BG color. And this is another one where they use the TD, table row, TD, 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 TD. Another table row, TD, TD, TD. This is the only one that is a table row of TH, 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 TH because we are talking about the header. There's another one, good. This other one does not have a TH because from this image right here, you see that everything has the same color. They are all aligned to the center. They didn't give it anything in specific. They don't want anything to look different from the other. I just left it that way, So they just use TDT for every single thing here. Because when you see the TH, you will always know. Now, this is what another table. This is what a table looks like. Again, the price comparison table, and it's so this one is another TH. They made it bold. Good. So now I hope we all understood today's class. Because next time we will learn how to style our table using CSS. So did you all
I have a
good? Thank you
question.
for your answers. Huh?
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question?
My question is, how do you change the color of the border line? Because in one of the tables you showed us, the color of the border line was different from the one.
Tables I showed you now, and I told you initially that this one is a normal HT. You can do this normally with your own HTML. No, you can't do this because you still need to you need to collapse the border using CSS. Most of this late, and for us to achieve something like this, we will do that in our next class. Okay.
Okay.
So now, if you all have a question for me now, before you leave, I want you to make sure that you go to the Link School app and then go to that learn. Make sure you watch the video and answer the quiz that comes with it. The video of this class will be out today, and you make sure you go there, you answer the questions, and I showed you where you can submit your assignment. I
Yes,
told you where
ma'am.
you can submit your assignments here. Can always submit your assignments here, and you can download this material. With the slides you are seeing, you can always download it here. You click on it, you download the slide you see on the screen. You can download it from here, and you can open this particular class here. And here you can watch the video I already did. Now, right here, you take your quiz, and here you submit the assignment. I hope that makes sense, all of you.
Yes, ma'am. So what are assignments?
I already told you to design a table.
Okay,
I
ma'am.
showed you that you can just come up with whatever thing you want. Can be anything. You can create a time meal plan. You can create a class schedule table. You can make a scoreboard, your favorite game, anything you want. Just make sure it is a table and it has the.
Okay, ma'am.
Now, all of you, what question do you have for me? Because um, I am done for today's class. It's exactly 12. And I'm sure that this class didn't take much time, and I hope that all of you understood. Did you all understand my class?
Yes, ma'am.
So you see that HTML is not a bad language at all. You can use it for a whole lot of things. Web development is fun as long as you pay attention and learn. Thank you, Clinton. Thank you for observing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am, for teaching me.
Bye. Take care.